and welcome to Hard Copy from our channel's television studios in Abuja. I'm Kayla Megwa. Tonight, we're talking politics. Where do we begin? The impossibility of opposition in Nigeria. For the ADC, the leadership tussle between the David Mark-led group and the Balagombe-led group is raising fears that the party may not have its house in order in time for the elections. Now, the congresses held by the David Mark faction are to be derecognized by INEC, according to this new ruling by Justice Joyce Abdul-Malik of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Dumebi Atiku, former presidential aspirant of the ADC, who has since inception accused the party leaders of stealing the party without their knowledge, is excited about this judgment and says, quote, the party leadership will communicate a date of the party's convention to us very soon. Now, even if it all gets sorted out, who will be the flag bearer of the party? Will Peter Obi get the ticket? Will he be a running mate? Will Atiku step down? Are the Obedience and the Kwankwasia movement on the same page? What of Rotimi Amechi? An opposition coalition held in Ibadan not too long ago. Some parties are backing it, others are vehemently against it. Factional national chairman of the PDP said at the event, quote, we shall work towards fielding one presidential candidate for the 2027 elections, which shall be agreed and supported by all participating opposition parties to rescue our nation and her long-suffering masses, end quote. The question then became, who is we? Well, factions of the PDP, factions of the ADC, factions of Labour Party, factions of the PRP, factions of NNPP, even factions of the Accord Party. And we can say factions because other factions of all the parties I just mentioned and more are vehemently distancing themselves from this opposition coalition. What is the plan? The consensus candidate drama in the ruling APC at various state levels will also be in our conversation tonight, as their alleged conspiracy against multi-party democracy deepens. Meanwhile, my guest says he wants to be governor of Ogun State. Tonight on Hard Copy, we talk ambitions, factions, and conspiracies with Otumba Sowunmi. Otumba Sowunmi, welcome again to Hard Copy.
Yeah, so it's nice to be with you. You make a good conversation. Let's go. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Opposition in Nigeria doesn't seem to be fine, and you are part of the opposition. Let me start with where you stand on this coalition opposition meeting that's held in Ibadan. Are you a part of that?
I think the first thing to say is that between 1998, when multi-party democracy started, and where we are now, if there was any pretense about the quality of humans that we have become collectively, no bigger evidence reflects our anyhowness than this. It's always good for you to look at the history of the country. We've never had a long period of democracy as we have now in this republic. And we chose multi-party democracy as a choice, American style. One of the major disappointments is that over the years, and most of the people that are in that Ibadan joke are the ones who have not understood that beyond ambition is the stabilization of political parties. For if the vehicle, which is the political party, is not well-tuned, well-oiled, well-reformed, and well-calibrated, this type of desperation will always produce this ugly spectacle. It must be a sobering moment for any observer, participant, or even the ruling class and the leader of the country, that how is it that all of these parties, the number of them, how is it that for some reason there's no anchor? And if you peel it back to figure out what exactly has caused this, you're going to find out that people in our country have mismanaged the opportunity of contest. You can't insist that you have to be candidate all the time. And you cannot insist that when you cannot be candidate in one party, the next best thing is to hop to another party. Yes, freedom of association and all that can produce a no-choice situation. But if it repeats itself like 6 times, 7 times in the course of this democracy, you know that you're looking for the solution, whereas indeed you are the problem. So the usage of the law and our hurry to go to court for what ordinarily should be housekeeping issues also reflects the fact that we are not a serious people in democracy. I marvel at how those who are driving this, especially the ones that are the ADC, you look at them all and say, okay, how did you guys get yourself into a shark-infested water? You don't know how to swim, you have no lifeboat, and then you're saying the neighbors or the head of the clan that is upland is the one that is responsible. Do you not have a caveat emptor, a look and be sure, a buyer beware, a know what you're doing kind of scenario? All of the energies that has been put into this, if they had individually put it into reforming their party, say reforming the PDP for the ones who are in PDP, they'll have a party. Reforming the Labour Party for the one who was in Labour, they'll have a party. Reforming the APC, even for the ones who are from the APC, they'll have a party. So for me, I have come to the conclusion that 2027 is won and lost. And it is won and lost not because he who will win is the most spectacular, but perhaps they're the ones that are a little bit more bending backward over within their own organization to manage structures. And that those who are going to scream, shout, jump, say if they don't put their name on the ballot, they're not going to, the election is not going to hold. If the court rules against them, there'll be Armageddon. They need to be put down. The simple reason is that there are 94 million collected previously. By the last time I checked, it could grow. And you can't have a handful of over-recycled elements overheating the polity and giving everybody in the sub-region, outside the sub-region, our partners, reasons to look and say, oh, what are they doing in that populous country? Are they like trying to implode it? And I think it is the duty of whoever is commander-in-chief of the country to ensure that that executive authority that is vested must draw lines of what must not be allowed. I've heard some of them make a lot of careless rhetorics on television. I'm quite disappointed that those in charge of that process have not called them to come and show cause as to why they shouldn't be punished. I've seen some of them insist that they're going to attack every institution of state. The INEC gets a law, a court order that says don't do something. They run in front of the gate, put placards in the hands of people that are basically procured, jump and huff and jump. And you're asking yourself, are these people this immature? We're very lucky. I've even had one of them go to the ridiculous extent of saying he wants to call back the activities of Wet here. In the first instance, the fellow who is even saying that trash has not even bothered to understand that they don't have ideologues of the type of Awolowo Atiku that people look onto. So it's almost as if a gang of underperforming, extremely irritatingly, consequentially beating people are saying, oh, I'm not having it nice, because of that the country should burn. So if you ask me, I'm not part of that. I have been of the view that we must accept that what requires reformation must be reformed. What requires reorientation must be reorientated. And what requires consequence must be applied. It is the same thing, take it away from politics, go to our development, take it away from development, go to security, take it away from security, go to the faith-based organization and their usage of rhetoric to inflame society. This nation, we need to pull the rope and tell the horse not to gallop too fast so that we can even have a nation. We've had many elections and we will have another one after 2027.
How do you suggest this pullback happens?
I think I think that the best that I can see is that after 2027, I expect that the president, because there's a lot of responsibility and privilege put to that office, it's not just to sit down there and be going to ask for loans. It's also to see how is the health of the country, what is the direction of this country. And it's not to do it alone, it's supposed to be helped. So I think that after they're done, it would be wise for them to ask themselves that, okay, what kind of democracy is this? if this is what has become of old parties like PDP and all of that, can this not become of even our party if we don't kind of like change it? You can see they have embarked on a process they call concession. On paper, it will seem like it's a way to hem it in and manage, contest and maybe the number of aspirants and all that. But what they don't seem to understand, or what they fail to see, is that the only way you can run that type of imposition, which you call consensus, is for you to have a process in place that punishes those that have access to authority. You've seen it in China, you've seen it in Iran, you've seen it in North Korea and all of those places. You've even seen it in Russia. In none of those areas do you have a laissez-faire arrangement where everybody does whatever they like, and therefore the number of people who are even saying they want to serve is overwhelmingly too much. So you want to figure out a way to ensure that you trim the privileges of service so that less people are even coming to be combative about it. Then you can have a disciplined approach to development that can make that work. But I don't think they have that. And if they stretch their luck too far, they will remember that the People's Democratic Party has had many years in leadership. And they also boasted much that they will rule forever in such a manner that they were looking at the privileges of power, they were looking at the control of the army, they were looking at the pulse of the country, they were looking at the laws, they were looking at all of those privileges that are granted any executive. But alas, the party is all but a shadow of itself now.
You're still there, though.
Yeah, well, I think that what has happened to me is that I have tried very hard to see whether we can create an ideological conversation that will naturally lead all of us to a different place. And I think that may God help us, because we like to pray a lot here, but may we also be smart enough to understand that after all is said and done, what's even the potential outcome of 2027? If you go to the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and try to ask him privately that, dude, are you better off being president or better off not being president? If he were to ask me, I will answer, dude, you are better off when you were the one that puts
the
people,
person behind the scenes,
because you don't get all this, you don't get all of these darts. And we can see some of the things you are doing.
He says he can handle it. I mean, and recently he's been saying that quite a lot. At almost every
when anyone says that a lot, you should know that it's a reflection of how scared they are on the inside. Once a leader needs to say, I'm strong, I'm powerful, just know that he's concerned. And it should be. He's a human being. One man sitting in one office with everybody just pretending to like you, it's not a reflection of what we're hearing.
You don't think people like him genuinely?
No. I think that the thing is that half the people around him, frankly, are incompetent. The other half that are incompetent can't be bothered to do the rat race of covetousness and greed that goes on. Most of his so-called aide are tone deaf. They're listening, but they're not hearing. And then, unfortunately, the presidency is always like a golden cage. You lock him in there, you put the key away, he wakes up, you bring him up like a mannequin, he gives one speech, and dude. Nations are not being run that way now. Nations are a little bit more relatable. You can hardly see us doing succession planning in any skilled way. I've looked at some of the appointments of the president of late, and I've seen that, okay, I'm a generous person when I want to be generous to you. So I've looked at what he's doing. He's brought Oyedeji, he's brought someone. So I said, okay, is this guy trying to do succession? Is he trying to groom this younger one? That's me being optimistic, because to be pessimistic about Nigeria now is truly to be depressed. I spend a lot of my time, my money, my resource on the affairs of this country. I've just come back from the United States Congress. The conversation was about Nigeria. And I sat there and listened to all of the people speak so much about Nigeria. But it was my responsibility to push the Nigerian narrative in a way that made sense. And I did. And I left the place a bit happier than the last time when they were screaming fire and brimstone. I felt that there was a better understanding of our situation. And I think that the international community, especially the United States, is now beginning to say, okay, Anthony, you guys, can you just tell us what we need to do to help you? Because it seems as if even we are just as confused about your situation as you are. So I think that if the federal government is not tone deaf and not too carried away by the things they do, I think it's time for us to now really say, okay, let us reduce the temperature, let us start to reorientate so that even if this generation, their generation, even if it has become a waste, at least we can ensure that we can create another generation behind them of people who will first of all love themselves and love their country. You can't develop Nigeria if everything you do is tribal. You can't.
Well, we're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be going into specifics.
Okay, ask the question, I'll answer. You know that. I'm always here.
Stay with us on Hard Copy. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hard Copy. We're having a State of the Nation conversation with Otumba Sowunmi. Thank you again.
Well, it's nice to be back.
Are you going to run? Are you really going to run for governor of Ogun State under the PDP? Let's get that clear.
Good. Let me put it to you this way.
Yeah.
What needs to be done is ready.
Okay.
Where we need to take the state is ready.
Yes.
The incidental conversations that makes the people excited, ready. The mindset of what must be done day one, ready. The question that has been bedeviling me is the platform. You cannot pretend not to see the Titanic go down. Do
you think the PDP will give you the ticket in your state?
I think the PDP will have to make up his mind whether he wants to continue to exist in my state or not. It's tough even keeping them together because they have insisted that every election, one rich man's son gets the ticket, and it's tiring. I've indulged them and said, okay, let's just keep at it, but we have gotten to the point now where that can't be done anymore. So more than likely, if they start to play games, obviously, adios amigo, 28 years is a long time to give any political party they can be gone. There's no ideological superiority there. They're not running like they are serious. They don't want to have a presidential.
So they don't give you the ticket.
No, not just that. Before they even get to not giving me the ticket, I'll smell that they're not going to give me the ticket, and I will just wave them bye-bye and be gone.
Speaking of...
That's why I kept talking about, can't we just build another ideological idea around labor? Because then that would have been something I could long...
You're planning on moving to the Labour Party?
Listen, I would have long suffered for it.
Okay.
Because I know that at least Labour Party, there's no... Every day we don't know what our ideology is. We know it's for the middle class. We know it's for workers. We know it's welfareist. But look at them. Look at them. So it's possible that I'll sit out 2027. I could sit it out.
You could sit it out?
Oh, yeah, I could sit it out. And look, I live my life on a prism. If you really want to serve, don't try to do it at all cost.
Okay.
Show them what you want to do. Explain to them how you can serve. And if they're too stupid to see what you want to offer, just leave them.
Your former principal?
There are too many former principals. Which of them?
Atiku Abubakar.
Yeah, what about him?
And just looking at the situation right now, you talked about a lot of it in the beginning. I let you just express yourself about how frustrating it may feel. What would you, if he had your attention?
He always has my attention. What do you want to talk about? You want that bullying him?
Yes, what should he do?
I think that it is extremely disrespectful to Waziri Atiku Abubakar for people to bully him. First of all, you have to work in a man's shoes before you even start offering opinions. You know what it takes to even be pulling together and trying to be Democrat?
What should he do now?
He should be the candidate.
He should be the candidate of the ADC?
Absolutely. There's no other person that can beat him there. They're just dreamers. You can't beat Atiku in that party. You are a dreamer.
Then what happens to Peter Obi?
Who's Peter Obi? Look, man, I've offered...
He's a Nigerian who wants to run for president.
I have offered a lot of opinions on what I thought Peter should do when it made sense. And not wanting to be, accused of maybe not... Peter has even wasted my time. I had expected Peter to pick a party and then I would run with him because I thought we could do that. That energy could be exciting. But what has Peter done? People have gone into a coalition. People have suffered in a coalition. People have been working very hard. People have been having meetings non-stop. You were making up your mind that you wanted to go and run Anambra on Labour. You ran Edo on Labour. You ran Anambra on Labour. People are putting this thing together. You want to be president, yes? And you think that the next thing is that you have a bunch of young people just sit on social media and insult everybody, including even bully a man that cannot be bullied. Do you know why they call Atiku Daddy Cool? Let me tell you. Because when everybody in the room is losing their cool and agitated and angry, Atiku is like this. Almost camera dead.
Poker face.
It's almost poker face, yeah. Nothing affects him. And when everybody has finished their shouting match, and those of us that are close to him, like say, okay, Waziri, what's the way? You will see that while they were shouting, he was thinking. And he will be able to say, okay, what about this? I think his problem really Is Atiku is too democratic for his own good. The kind of nonsense they won't do with Bola Tinubu when he was not even president. Why are they trying him in?
He believes that the problem opposition has in Nigeria is the president.
Well, you see, I mean, he has to frame it that way because he wants to challenge him. But he has to know the problem opposition has in the country is him. If he had been a little bit stricter and he had gone and taken the idea of Sheikh Musa Yar'Adua and imagined that as the successor of that framework, it was his duty to be in opposition. In the first instance, he won't jump the much. Then when he jumped, he will stay. And when he finally got to the point where he can't jump no more, he will create his own. And even if he does not become president, that will be a legacy he can pass on. But what has he done? He's in a party now, struggling ticket with people that are supposed to be my own age group. I should be struggling presidency with those who are not him. And then he's struggling the presidency in a calm way. And then some small jokers are just shouting, screaming. They are bullying for what? Do you know what it takes to be Atiku? Do you know how many election scars he has? Do you know what it cost? Well, so in that case, Peter and his desire will not be escalated to the level where we'll be bullying Atiku. That will be very unacceptable. The
obedience and the Kwankwasia movement.
Who are the Kwankwasias?
Followers of Rabiu Musa Kwankwa.
Rabiu is capable. He's made too many wrong decisions that you wonder how he thinks he can make a right one. In the first instance, I was
a movement. A lot of young people.
Forget this movement. It was Rabiu Musa Kwankwa that brought Ganduje exclusively and solely. And suddenly Ganduje is the problem. Rabiu is not. It was Rabiu that brought Abba Gida. And now Abba Gida is a problem and Rabiu is not. And now suddenly Rabiu is going to be, is he vice president or president to Peter? What are they going to do? And I think the security service have a duty to put their eyes on both structures. You know why? Because they are too combative. You can't have the combustible...
You mean their followers, the obedience and the combative.
As your leader, you take responsibility for what your followers do. You're going to have to take responsibility. If you incite your followers to be acting like they want to kill people,
they're just passionate. They're not breaking any law.
Listen, I didn't say they should be arrested for not breaking the law. I said their eyes must be on them. Okay. You must frame what they're doing. You must check them out. You have a group of people that break down, and then you have another set of obedience come together in a democracy. Come on, man. The conversation must be about policy. The conversation must be about development. It can't be about, we are angry. If you are angry, you're angry for yourself. You want to get a pan-Nigerian country, a country that is secular, that belongs to all Nigeria, and then you want to use your excessive ethnicity to make everybody uncomfortable.
I think your followers have done more harm than good.
I don't know about Kwankwaso's zone. Kwankwaso's followers have not done him more harm than good. But Peter Obi, certainly his inability to even tame or even offer enough. Any leader that can't control his house can't control a nation. The nation is... Peter, the more he tries, the more he shows his weakness. These things require more solution provision. These things require more moderation of tone of voice. And you cannot come in late to a coalition that men have been suffering and toiling. Do you know how many meetings they've had just to get to where they are? And then of the things you can see to do, it is the man who even gave you the opportunity to come onto national limelight and say, all of the so-called obedient can now see you. Why weren't you obedient when you were in Anambra? In 2019, I was part of the process. We gave you the vice presidency on Atiku. We didn't market you with Atiku. We didn't market Atiku with you. We marketed you with Atiku and produced you to where Atiku, again, is obsessed with doing the right thing before he gets power. Atiku was of the view in 2019, I can give you because I was spokesperson. He was of the view that we need to find a way to kind of like bring the Southeast in and all. Why did he have to be wasting his time on that? He could have wasted his time and said, okay, let me get power, then I'll do the reform. Atiku wants to be doing the reform while he's still tumbling to get power. And that's where the challenge is. But if anybody is telling Atiku Abubakar Waziri to step down for who? Dude, sir, don't you dare. I can tell you for free that the ideas in his brain about how to run this country in terms of security is far better than any of their own. So why will he be stepping down for them? For what? He has told them this is my last outing. And we can accept on your behalf, even if it is defeat. You have to go to primaries. And even if you wanted to bully, Rotimi is not bullying you. Do you know Rotimi's CV? Former speaker, that's legislative experiment. Former governor, that's executive. Former minister, that's federal relationship and all that. And natural opposition element with a lot of energy. He has not bullied. Come on. I know you have some soft spot for him, but I don't want to
it's not that you've knocked down almost every single thing that has to do with...
No, I've not knocked out. I've not knocked out.
I've been listening to you. You said the Ibadan coalition doesn't make any sense.
Okay,
you said it was a joke.
Let me tell you why Ibadan was a joke.
You've explained why it was a joke.
No, you've not heard. 5 of them created the mess called PDP.
You said this.
Called G5. And now we're going to start dancing to the beat of G1. Sheyi. Okay. Let him achieve it, let's see. Let him achieve it, let's see.
They are at a precipice. They are at a point right now as opposition where it does feel like they may not make it on that ballot.
Who's responsible for them not making it on that ballot?
The president.
Oh, no.
Even though there are facts to show that they have broken a lot of the rules of the party.
Okay, so we're supposed to bend the rule for them?
But they're saying that the presidency has purposely decided to destroy multi-party democracy.
Have you ever heard me say that, even though I say I want to run? Because I understand that what you're supposed to do as leaders is solve the problem in-house. If you are able to lead a nation, you should be able to persuade your members not to go to court. Keller, if I had an issue with you, we're fighting over a piece of meat. If we don't go to court, we can resolve it. If we go to court, the court is going to look at the issues. And one person goes injunction, another person goes counter injunction. And besides, you see, the way the law is expected to work for political parties, I am offering this advice free pro bono. Stop calling these your lawyers that are quick to be doing cho-cho-cho. Because they don't pay attention to the filings and the issues. You know, the verbose people are not necessarily the best lawyers. There's a time they need for research. They are busy on television. There's no time for research. Only people can combine research and talking at the same time. People like me. But hey, if you went to court and you had a case in court, and the court, and you wanted to do, and you say you wanted to go and quarrel about whether they had jurisdiction, and you are willing to quarrel about jurisdiction all the way to Supreme Court, what time is going? Why don't you let them take the case and decide in one way or the other? Then you can appeal. But you are still, even if you won in the Supreme Court, they're going to tell you to go back to the court, to the ground court and go and start. Then where does that leave you? If we had been clever enough to find better people in the, maybe, if Peter, God, I go back to Peter. If Peter had not picked a party and not waste his time with all these old men that is now coming to bully, I'll be a bit confident that maybe he'll win. But Peter is afraid of losing and therefore he will lose. Peter should be ready to lose so that he can win. But he's afraid of losing. So he's looking for, let me go and look at so let me go and lie down and then these people are insulting everybody. And you want to win? Are you the one that will whisper to the people 24 hours before? Do we speak one language in this country? Does this place look like where Martin Luther King used to have a dream and the dream will quickly come to pass?
Thanks again for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
That's Hard Copy this week. I'm Kayla Megwa.